Well, white conservatives strike again. This time they're going after Minnesota's North Central University's George Floyd Memorial Scholarship for young black students. A legal complaint filed by the Equal Protection Project with the Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights says that the scholarship violates Title VI of the Civil Rights Act by exclusively qualifying for black students. The law prohibits intentional discrimination based on race, color, or national origin in any federally funded program or activity. Here's the scholarship's description. Thank you for your interest in the George Floyd Memorial Scholarship. The George Floyd Memorial Scholarship provides a way to invest in a new generation of young black Americans, poised and ready to be leaders in our community and our nation. We believe that the George Floyd Memorial Scholarship will enable North Central University to increase our number of black students who will impact the learning environment in a positive manner. Diversifying our learning environment is key to being a university that looks and acts like heaven. Well, guess what? These are the requirements here. But let's just be real clear. These folk here, they ain't Christian. They don't care. And the bottom line here is, Michael, and I keep warning people, I keep warning them, if it's any program to help black people, oh, these white racists coming after all of them.
Yes, they are, Roland. And this is a continuation of the conversation that we had with the sisters who founded the Fearless Fund and the lawsuit that white conservative Ed Bloom filed. Now, I know they're citing Title VI of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. I guess they're citing Section 601, non-discrimination in federally assisted programs, which makes race-based programs illegal. If people go to archives.gov and read the 1964 Civil Rights Act and look at Title VI, Section 601, it explains it there. Now, what the distinction that I need made, are these federal funds, Roland, or are these like funds from another source? Because the 1964 Civil Rights Act, Section 601, deals with federally funded, federally assisted programs.
Well, they're claiming because this university receives federal funds, there can't be a scholarship that targets African Americans. Matt?
So, Michael kind of got right where I was going to go. I think it's a matter now of changing the strategy. And I think that schools who want to provide a scholarship like this need to have a link on their website that shows all the available scholarships. But the money has to come from a completely private entity, private endowment or private foundation. Because what's problematic about this, I read the Title VI complaint, and I have a case adjacent to a Title VI complaint right now. And it's exactly, from my understanding, what you said. It is an organization or an entity that receives federal funding. If they're discriminating in the benefits of their programming, then they're in violation of the law. And what makes this very tenuous legally is the case from last year, Students for Fair Admissions versus Harvard. They've actually cited that case in their Title VI letter to the Department of Education Civil Rights Office. And what it says in that case is it says that even if the motive is essentially a positive one, i.e. to empower people of a particular protected class, here, Black Americans, it runs afoul of the law. And the problem is, I don't think they're wrong, at least as it relates to the letter of the law. So now it's incumbent on us, people who are trying to support Black students particularly, to find ways around that. And frankly, that has to be completely private money that's doling out these scholarships that is not in any way, adherent to the federal funding or receiving federal funding. And that's what I see as the problem here, because they're trying to use it as both, a sword and a shield, essentially, in saying, well, if you are saying that we're discriminating by not allowing enough Black students in, or, as it relates to admissions programs, then anything that is just for Black people is something that runs afoul of the law. And the way the law is written, I think there is a little bit of a hole there. So I don't know how to do that beyond strategizing and putting the money in a pot that has no federal funding whatsoever.
Kelly?
No, I echo the sentiments of Matt here. I immediately thought of the scholarships that I have received in the course of my academic work. And because I went to an HBCU or was from an HBCU going into other academia, there were scholarships in place, again, almost completely privately funded, that were targeting people of color in very unique ways. So it wasn't that white people couldn't get them, but you had to be where Black people are in order to get them, that being an HBCU. So if you again, like Matt said, you have to be strategic in this regard in order to get what you need. And there will always be a way to get Black people what they need. So I'm not necessarily worried about that, but I will say that it is frustrating for what I find to be a somewhat dying breed of Americans being this staunchly racist, this gung-ho and adamant about not helping people of color, still controlling what is necessary for people of color to survive and thrive in this country. Hopefully, like I said, this dying breed will die off sooner rather than later. But in the meantime, strategies will come into play to make sure that we have what we need.
This is Attorney Demario Solomon Simmons. I'm a national civil rights attorney. I'm also the founder and executive director of Justice for Greenwood. Many of you guys know I've been leading the fight for the last 2 living survivors and the Greenwood community overall. We have a historic hearing coming up on April 2nd at 1:30 p.m. in front of the Oklahoma Supreme Court. I need all of you to support us as we try to get justice for this issue for the first time in almost 103 years. Sign up to support us during this hearing on Tuesday, justiceforgreenwood.org/watch party, April 2nd, 1:30 p.m. We need your support, your messages, and your prayers. We appreciate you. Justice for Greenwood.